Can't see with eyes, but my soul burns bright. Every step I take, guided by unseen hand. My guardian angel helping me understand. From the blind spot, you watch over me, giving me vision that others can't see. Though the world's unclear, I've got crystal sight. With you by my side, I'm winning this fight. No need for sight when you've got insight. My inner compass always points me right. Obstacles fade as I forge ahead. My path illuminated by the wisdom you've spread. From the blind spot, you watch over me, giving me vision that others can't see. Though the world's unclear, I've got crystal sight. With you by my side, I'm winning this fight. No need for sight when you've got insight. My inner compass always points me right. Obstacles fade as I forge ahead. My path illuminated by the wisdom you spread. They say I'm blind, but they don't know the strength that grows when the lights are low. With every challenge, I rise above, guided by your unconditional love. From the blind spot, you watch over me, giving me vision that others can't see. Though the world's unclear, I've got crystal sight. With you by my side, I'm winning this fight. In the blind spot, where shadows and light collide, my guardian angel forever by my side.
Close skies, a script with constellations. No eyes, just synopsis, machinations. Velvet silence hums beneath my fingertips. A labyrinth of echoes, I chart the crypts. They say sight's the compass, but I've burned the maps. Dance with shadows where the light collapses. I chase the chaos with a sonar mind. Frequencies where the stars collide. Every flow's a diamond half designed. The dark's my canvas, watch me redefine. I found myself in the blind spot, where the static goes a symphony. Heartbeats navigate the gridlock. Scars whispered codes to infinity. Oh, the blind spot, a kingdom with a lost a line. No mirrors, just the truth divine. I rise unbound in the blind spot. They try to box the sun in prison grids, but I speak in wildfires, break what they forbid. Met a soul who wore her fractures like a crown. We traded ghosts, let them tangle underground. Her voice, a kaleidoscope and braille. We rewired nightmares into iron sails. She taught me strength is just grief rearranged. A phoenix stuffed with ashes preordained. And now we orbit voids where others storm. Two hurricanes, calm in the eye of it all. We found ourselves in the blind spot, where the static builds a symphony. Heartbeats navigate the gridlock. Scars whisper close to infinity. Oh, the blind spot. Kingdom where the lost align. No mirrors, just the truth divine. We rise unbound in the blind spot. The heroes cross the roof upon the storm. No armor, just morality unadorned. Now we orbit voids where other stars respond. A supernova's birth, both destroy and dawn. So let them preach the binary, the scene verse less. I'm fluent in the language of the unconfessed. Blind, nah, vision's just life's first light. Your sight's the first to be the why. We win here in the blind spot. My love's pearl etches forever in the sky. Prison grids, but I speak in wildfires, break what they forbid. Met a soul who wore her fractures like a crown. We traded ghosts, let him tangle underground. Her voice, a kaleidoscope and braille. We rewired nightmares into iron sails. She taught me strength, just be rearranged. A feet stuffed with ashes preordained. They try to box the sun in prison grids, but I speak in wildfires, break what they forbid. Met a soul who wore her fractures like a crown. Traded ghosts to tango on the ground. All the blind spot, a kingdom where the lost align. No mirrors, just the truth divine. We rise unbound in the blind spot. The heroes cross the roof upon the storm. No armor, just the raw, the unadorned.
Yo, 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 what it does, YouTubes, what it does. Salute to you guys and welcome, man. My name is Blizzy Blind. I am your handsome host, and you, my good homie, are just in time. In time for what, Blizzy? In time for some prison talk or jail talk. Not talk, not TOK, talk. Some prison talk, jail talk, and as always, we're going to be keeping it a biscuit. Now, if you notice, there is a new banner at the bottom of the screen. You will see that there is a invitation to visit the Etsy shop. If you do feel so inclined, it would be much appreciated. Check it out, man. Check it out. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it right now because you can just see for yourself. But salute to you guys, man. It's been a little bit. I haven't seen y'all guys in a little bit. I thought maybe I had lost my desire to ever stream again. But not really. Not really. I just hadn't really seen anything that I wanted to talk about until today. Because it's like, the mindset I find myself in lately with YouTube is like, what reason do I have to be even doing this, And if I'm not interested in connecting with people, but if I can give a fresh or unique perspective on something, or at least give somebody a side of something that they wouldn't get from somewhere else, because I do have a lot of unique experiences, then that's something that I'm most certainly have an interest in doing. And I was watching one of these YouTube videos where they're kind of getting into the ugly, gruesome brutal side of jail and prison. And I thought, you know what, man, that's something interesting that I can talk about for a little bit. I don't got anything better to do. So welcome in. Welcome to the blind spot. I'm Busy Blind. And like I said, today the talk is going to be about jail stuff. At least that's what it is looking like. But I hope you guys are doing okay, man. I haven't streamed in quite some time. Just kind of I lost interest in it, you know. It's same old thing, same old circle jerk. Uh, say this and get applauded. Say this and get hated. Say this and or or pat somebody else on the butt and they'll pat you on the butt and vice versa and all this. Like I just don't. I really don't have any interest in doing all that stuff. So in doing is talking about things that I don't hear anybody else talking about. And like I said, this jail stuff is something I can give a unique perspective on. And not because I'm some jailbird that's been knocked up 100 times, but rather I have been locked up and I am from Texas, which is a very prison oriented state. In Texas, man, you pretty much like at least like where I grew up and the people that I know, we all kind of grew up with the mentality that we were going to end up going to prison one day, no matter what. So I thank God every day of my life that I haven't wound up in prison. But I have done time. And now I'm trying to get this video pulled up that I watched a couple of minutes of because I thought now if you guys I don't know how many of you guys are like watching the current news, but the kid Carmelo Anthony, the guy that stabbed another high school student at a track meet, he was just found guilty here in Texas, and he's going away for a long time. But all the experts that I'm hearing talk about it are saying that his appeal is probably more than likely gonna have some type of effect, and it might his charge might get lowered to manslaughter or something like that, which is crazy because I mean, and I know everybody's making that whole that case out to be about race, man, but that's there's no if there's any racism there, it's on behalf of that kid Carmelo Anthony, man. Like real talk, like you stab somebody like that, you should go to prison forever. Period. Like that's just the way it is, in my opinion. Excuse me. But let me get this video brought up. Not be for the faint of heart. So if you are sensitive to crazy stories, please proceed with caution. All right. Somebody's gonna have to give up some booty. And
Okay, we're kicking it off right away with Felice Johnson. And to my knowledge, I was one of the first people to be streaming about Felice Johnson when his interviews first hit. And a lot of people were like, Blizzy, are you gay because of that? But let me just ease anybody who has any kind of thoughts like that or any kind of questions like that. Is that I promise you, anybody that has endured any of these traumatic ass experiences that Felice Johnson talks about would not just be casually perusing through his content and casually, cavalierly watching it. I promise you. Like he makes light of these scenarios and stuff, but these are traumatic, life-changing experiences, and I don't think that booty bandits or victims of booty bandits would have any kind of interest in watching anything that Felice Johnson has to say. I just think that it's interesting, it's fascinating, it's shocking, and it's terrifying, and it's disgusting, and it's horrific also, but it's fascinating to think that a human being can get to the point of longing for intimacy to such a degree that they could do the stuff that Felice Johnson would do just to have intimacy with another human being. And it's disgusting, man. And Felice Johnson should have got the good old should have got what he had coming to him a long time ago, in my opinion. He's a disgusting, dirty piece of shit. But it is still fascinating to me.
just so what are they going to let him have a woman?
And is it like this whole idea of guys having to give up the booty or guys taking each other's booties? That's not something that happens until you're like in prison. That shit does not happen in county. Well, I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but it's not common in county jail. That is not a county jail thing. That is something that mostly happens when you are in like big boy prison, like when you're looking at numbers. And it's funny because I've seen a lot of, well, I've seen, man, you know what? I'll tell y'all some crazy shit just on that topic. My very first time when I was in county in the town that I grew up in, there was, like, for some reason, my whole life, like, I always kind of been like the guy that took up for like the kind of like quieter people and stuff. Like they all kind of just sort of like gather around and I'll kind of just become like a quiet leader of the group or whatever. And I was in this tank called the farmer's tank. And what it was it was a trusty tank where you got to go work on like the baseball fields in our town and stuff. And there was this one kid, I can't remember his name. It started with the J. But he was light skinned, black. He was half black and half white, but he had blue eyes. And like his dad, his whole life, this kid's dad had told him that if he ever got locked up, that he was gonna get his butt taken from him. That Bubba was gonna take his butt if he ever got locked up. So this kid was so scared. I swear to God, he was so fucking scared that he would sleep. The only thing that he could find that even resembled something sharp was a spork, and he sharpened down the back, the handle side of the spork as sharp as he could, and he would sleep there. And I wouldn't even sleep really until I had I literally had to have all of the like scariest dudes in the pod like reassure him, like, bro, nobody's gonna take your cakes, bro. Like, that's not like that's not what's happening here. But with that being said, another time that I was in jail, a gay dude that came in, and him and this other gang member were actually banging right there in the pod. And that was a crazy thing, but that wasn't nobody taking nobody's cheeks. That was just consensual butt stuff, man. It was crazy. But like there's a lot less like it's honest to God, it's more of a joke, man. The same way that guys play roughhousing with their brothers and like pretend like they're gonna take each other's cakes and stuff. It's mostly like a white people thing more than other races, but like all races do it. But it's honestly, man, it's not something that is as prominent as you would think.
What it is?
No, man, you ain't understanding. When I grew up in prison, I grew up in
See, in my opinion, I think that somebody justified that for Felice Johnson because he did. Felice Johnson went to prison at 11 years old, and he like went through puberty and stuff in prison, in the prison system. But I think that somebody like justified that to him, and now he just repeats that because this dude was just a straight up predator.
I put knowledge up here, then I abstained from that shit, right? But at first, man, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Booty was more important than water.
Booty, having some booty, was more important than drinking water, man.
Yeah, it was, man. I'd rather have booty than fried chicken.
I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, but I mean, it's very similar to any. I mean, that's relatable to any young teen's hormones. I mean, if you're not looking at this in a homosexual way, just imagine that that's just a guy in his teens, or any guy talking about how he felt in his teens. You know, I know a lot of guys would say that in their teen years that booty was more important than water. It's just the kind of booty that Fleece is getting is a whole different kind.
You know, you keep the fries, nigga, put me between the thighs. But I pride myself on being a good lover, man. And while I was in prison, man, men and women, shit they go through and how they can't stay together. Why everybody all can get a woman, man. I'm gonna treat her right.
The OG say he care. I'm like, what the? Bro, I look. OG got the from the back with the knife to his throat, and his ass is out. You can see that the kid ass is out. The kid face is facing me. He like this, with his eyes rolling in the back of his head, and his hands like up like this. And the OG has got the knife, and hit you can see this part of him and the knife to the youngster neck, and he pulling his hair like this in front of the back. Got him like this with the knife, and the kid like bro. I'm like OG. He like, mind your business, youngster. I'm like, oh shit, nigga, I just got on, bro. I'm like, damn, OG in there, and shit out that young, bro.
I'm pretty sure King Pill made that shit up when he was on his run to try to be on No Jumper, trying to compete with 4 extras. So, but that's a testament to like the misperceptions, and you see, like these are just like accepted misconceptions and misperceptions that like it benefits everybody to kind of stay in place. Like everybody kind of benefits from the standing idea being that you're gonna get violated if you go to prison. So like nobody has any kind of interest in like tearing those misconceptions down. But that isn't the way that it is, man. Like it might be like that in some places, but in Texas, it's not like that.
Hard to listen to, but these former inmates say this is what prison is really like.
Now I ain't even gonna front, and I'm not everything that I'm saying, man. I'm not saying any of this. I'm not racist at all. I'm not racist at all, man. I've never even been accused of being a racist. So I just say that as a disclaimer. But I do acknowledge race, and I have to say, man, as far as like the victim uh hierarchy, who is most likely to be a victim is white people, sadly. And the more boyish or young that you look, the more quote unquote of a pretty boy you are, the more likely you are to be violated. I mean, that's just common sense, though, if you ask me. So like this dude must have been pretty young when he experienced what he's talking about.
They open every 5 minutes. The doors open. During chow, so you can go to chow and you can come back. And you know what this is, man. If you scream, if you yell, if you fight, you're done. I'm gonna kill you. And I know in the comment section, you're going to get a lot. I would have rather died. Sure, you would have, tough guy.
No, that's incorrect. There are. I would have died. Like, I would have died behind that. Like, I don't care what. I'm not saying that to talk tough or nothing. If somebody propositioned me with that, I mean, death is most certainly a better option, in my opinion.
And I just remember the door was opened and closed 3 times, and then they took off. And that was my first moment of real violence in my life. Like, if I don't do something, this is gonna be my entire prison life. I'm gonna be somebody's bitch.
That's the worst part of jail and prison, though, man, is all the people that get put in prison and jail that don't belong there. Like, shit, that's crazy. You're in prison, but your first violent experience happens while you're in prison. That's crazy.
This is what's gonna happen. So I grabbed up these little segregation pencils. You know the pencils they give you in segregation? These tiny little baskets.
Golf ones. Yeah.
The golf pencils. I grabbed them up. I took my little black shoestrings out of my shoe, and I wrapped them around. I had like 5 of them, and I went across.
I don't know. That's weird. Where I don't know what kind of place he would be in where you could have your shoelaces, but not pencils.
The hallway when the door opened again, and he's standing across the hall, and I walked over and I was like, "Hey, bro, I just want you to know that I'm not going to tell anybody." And he looked at me with this look of, and you know, these parts of pencils aren't going to do damage, right? But aiming it, and I'm just
good for you, bro. The thing is too, is especially here in Texas. Like, I can only speak for Texas, but like, there's so much politics that goes into violence that, like, okay, let's say I was to go into a new place and some guys were to do that. Those guys would have had to gotten permission from whatever race I am to do that. So they would have to be the same race that I am. So being as I look Hispanic, uh, they would have had to, somebody would have had to okay that. Now white people move a little bit differently, man. So like white people might okay, or it probably was white people that did it to him. So of course they okayed it. But like in Texas, everything is separated by your race. Everything, unless, excuse me, unless you have gang ties that override your race. Like if you're a blood or a crip, that makes you a black gang member. That links you up with the black people.
In this state of rage, and then you hear the keys jingling. I got up, darted across, and of course, as soon as you do that, all the inmates basically are building a wall for you because they're all standing around watching it. Like, oh. So I was able to slick down, go right back across the hall, back into the shoot the pencils into the sink real quick, hit old Igor in the water kicking out, wash all that blood off real quick, like threw the shoestring under the bed, spread the pencils out, and I just laid on my butt like. I mean, my heart's just beating, shaking. And then you hear the other guy, it's CO, he's kicking on the door. I need to lock up, man. That guy's going to get me too. Looking back at him, like, dude, you're such a broad.
Now, you see, not to downplay dude's story and stuff, but that sounds like cap to me because if that guy, like, if he said he stabbed the one, boom, 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 dude gets stabbed and he jets back to his cell. Well, when the COs come in to get the one guy up off the floor, first of all, they're going to do an investigation to see who stabbed that dude up. And second of all, if the guy's like, hey, get me out of here, he's going to get me too, then that means he's going to have to snitch on somebody of who he's talking about is going to get him. So there's no way this guy would have just went back and laid up in the cell all cool.
10 minutes later, they've done carted them both.
Especially if he is a weaker, younger white inmate. Like, they would have thrown him out to the wolves in the blink of an eye.
Off, and I'm just laying there. My bunkie comes back and says, what the hell was that? None of your business. Just mind your business. And I'm still reeling from, like, you guys just violated me in the worst way for 15 minutes. And then this happens, and my brain is just all over the place. My heart's beating, and now I know I'm screwed. They're going to come and they're going to give me a new case, and I'm just laying there just, and they never came back. And then count time passes, lights out, and I'm just laying there all night. Like, I just know it. And they never came back.
Now, this is very graphic. The worst murder that I seen in prison. Yes, it happened to a child. And yes, I felt any type of emotion. You hurt a child in any way like that, I have no pity for you. But you can't unsee what I saw. So the way it's structured in Florida is, even if you have these crimes or you're high profile and you can't even house with somebody, they'll still put you in the high custody unit. So you're in there with disciplinary confinement, C1, C2, closed management cases where people can't have any property. They can't be housed with anybody because they're too violent, shit like that. Well, this piece of shit molested a child in Jacksonville. And one of these dudes was a cutthroat, which is one of the most notorious, ruthless organizations in the state of Florida. And he knew the family that this guy did it to. So he paid the right people, talked to the right people to make an accident happen. Now, when you
in any jail, I'm sure, but I know here in Texas, man, it is not hard to get the guards to leave you alone with a sex offender to do whatever you want, whatever kind of violence you want, man. That's what's crazy is that, like, guys, that's what trips me out about, like, California with people like Danny Masterson and stuff, people that have these huge bounties on their head and nobody's gotten to them. Here in Texas, all you got to do is have the guard, they have what's called a paperwork party. Like, I know that term gets thrown around here on YouTube a lot, but the actual meaning of that term is whenever your paperwork gets pulled by the pod and everybody has to take accountability for their charges. And if your charges have some funny shit on them, it's open season. It's open season on your dome, man. Like they'll straight up do all kinds of crazy violence to you.
You're doing time like in a 2-man cell and they open your cell, you can go to the day room, right? But if you're on CM1 or CM2 or you're housed alone or you're in DC confinement, you're locked down 24/7. So the molester was allowed to go to the day room himself for like 20 minutes to make a call, watch some TV, and then go back to his cell. He wasn't supposed to be housed with anybody. But like I said, accidents happen in prison all the time. So this Chomo piece of shit is walking down there feeling safe. You know, they're just the most evil, sick motherfuckers in the world. They play that weak, meek person when they're around a bunch of alpha males, a bunch of killers, a bunch of real ones. And then they're fucking the killer, most destructive fuckers around.
That's why it's open season all day, every day in Texas. You won't even catch a charge in jail if you hurt a chomo. In all reality, I'm not condoning any violence against anybody, but that's just the reality of how it is, man. In jail, it's open season on them fools at all times. So if you ever think about crossing any of them boundaries, just know that your ass is going to be a target if you're here in Texas from day one.
And they take advantage of them. So the cutthroat accidentally got his door popped open for the day room at the same time he did. Now, what I'm about to tell you is very graphic. So dude had a lock in the sock, right? And he had it tied really tight and taped up around it. I mean, he really put a lot of effort into making this into a very dangerous weapon. And he comes down there and the guy's screaming, "I'm not supposed to have anybody in the day room. Sarge, help me, help me." And immediately the cutthroat just starts hitting him in the head.
Hey, I swear to God, that's like so common. And what I mean is that them popping the doors on somebody. Like I seen that happen in county a number of times where if you have an enemy, just to see some fireworks, man. If you have an enemy and you've been watching out for him and he's out in the day room and you're not, and the guard is cool, they'll pop your door and let you go take off on that fool, let you handle up your business. Like that's jail is a whole different world. That's what's so crazy, man. That's what in all honesty, in my opinion, man, what causes one of the biggest divides amongst like inmates or felons and non-felons, or like street people and not street people, is the denial of real world violence between the two groups. Everyday people pretend like violence don't exist, and anybody who's been in the system knows that violence is more than half of the way that things get done. And I condone fist fighting. I do condone fist fighting. I think that if there was more fist fighting in the world, there would be less deaths by violence. There would be less shootings and stuff like that. But I mean that in the most controlled way. But the denial of how much violence plays a part in getting things done in inmates' life on the other side, man, is crazy.
And over and over and over. I mean, he is just, there's blood everywhere. He is just beating his face in with this lock. Well, the lock ends up getting tied like around the guy's arm or something like that because it had a sock, right? He pulls him close to him and just starts smashing his face in. Now, somehow, the cell on the bottom, which was a friend of the dude, was also popped open, but dude never went outside. So he drags this chomo into the cell. I'm watching through my cell. All that shit go down. He takes this child molester's head, puts it in the toilet, and drowns him. Just starts kicking him and holding his fucking foot on the back of this chomo's head. Within 5 minutes, the Doom Squad comes. Everybody's put in cuffs. And there's no cameras back there. So the officers wrote it up as they accidentally made a mistake opening the door, but they said the guy, the chomo, was on K2, smoked some twag, was paranoid, and attacked the cutthroat first, and he fought out of self-defense. Nobody got in trouble. Nobody got extra time. Maybe a guy got slammed or something like that. But that was one of the most just horrendous things I've ever seen in my entire life.
You might think that sounds crazy or inconceivable, but I mean, think about it. Think about it. Like, there's nobody in the whole world that's okay with violence against kids. Like, what would stop a guard from wanting that to take place? Like, in all reality, like, people that commit violence against kids are like the most truly evil, most detrimental people to a whole society. Like, there's no reason why a guard would want to protect somebody who was guilty of something like that, you know?
Never forget that. And yes, it happened to a chomo. And yes, I feel no pity for him at all, but still, it's one of those things that you can never free us.
Let me tell y'all one of the scariest things I saw during my 27 years in prison. Hold up, this hit the prison. It's called Rock Control Treatment Center.
Meat grinder. Food for thought for those that want to take advantage of people in prison. Stay free.
I won't go back to prison. I won't go. It'll either be suicide by cop or my own hand. My name is Joker. At the age of 12 and a half, I got locked up for killing 5 people. Guy that was my niece's father. At the time, gave her PCP in her milk. It was just something that he
Like, I had seen the other ones, I haven't seen this one.
at the time. Her name was Mindy. Had poison in her system. I heard Lisa talking in the background, which is my sister at the time. My sister was at the hospital with my mom, and my mom told me to tell my dad where she went, and when he came home to go to the hospital and meet her, that my niece at the time, her name was Mindy, had poison in her system. I heard Lisa talking in the background, which is my sister. She made the comment that she knows that David was the one that gave her PCP in her milk because they found it in her milk. So I went to my stepdad's room, grabbed a nickel plate at 45, went 2.5 blocks, knocked on the door. He answered, shot him in his kneecap, drug him into the middle of the floor. I heard footsteps running down the hallway, and I stepped up, and there's like 4 other people there. I didn't expect nobody to be there. They turned around and ran back into the room, and I chased them. When they went in, they closed the door. I kicked the door open. Girl picked up the phone, and I disposed of her. There was one guy that wouldn't run out of the room. I shot him in the back of the head. There was 2 other people in the room. They covered their head. I don't know what all they were saying. I didn't really care at the time. I disposed of them. I executed him. He poisoned my niece, who is now 32 years old, 33, who does nothing but rocks back and forth, whether the TV's on or not. Can't feed herself, bathe herself. He took her entire life from her. So I took his. For the 3.5 days that she sat in the hospital and suffered, I took 10-inch penny nails and nailed him to his living room floor and cut him up for 3.5 days and made sure he was alive. And I felt,
Jesus Christ, I wasn't expecting any of this shit. My bad. Trigger warning. Like I said, guys, trigger warning. This is some graphic, brutal shit. I was not expecting this, but son of a bitch. That's crazy.
Him to his Rottweiler, who he had in a room. I fed him to his own dog. When I was sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 125 years, they suspended 125, and because of what my sister did, mandatory my first life sentence and did 32 years. Got out October 12th, 2014.
What about the news? I'm sure this story made like major.
I've got if y'all want any documents, any pictures, I've got all my crime scene photos. I've got everything because I had a public defender. My parents would not buy me get me a lawyer. I had a public defender that just started the public defender's office. He was just out of law school, and it was never mentioned why I did what I did. All they did was show pictures and told the jury what I did. The only thing I regret is the fact that lived. I should have just taken his eyes, his speech, his hearing, taken his arms, his legs. I should have done whatever I had to let him live in his own little life of hell. But
you're talking about the guy that gave the PCP
to my niece, yeah, David.
What about the other victims in this situation? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't feel nothing about it because I feel that at the time, before I blew that face all over the back of the wall, you were there. You were guilty by association. I don't know if you were there before or during, but you either helped him prevent or you didn't stop him from doing what he did. So
you feel like
Now that's a motherfucker that should have been given the death penalty, if you ask me. Why on God's green earth would they let this guy back out into society is insane. That's fucking horrific. That's fucking crazy.
they were like aiding and abetting?
guilty by association. They were all PCP heads anyway. If that's the type of person you want to hang out with, hey, as far as I was concerned, you had to deal with the same consequences that he did.
Can you list out all of the charges that you went to court?
I went to court for 4 counts of second-degree murder, 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of first-degree murder by dismemberment and maiming, 1 count of dismemberment of a human corpse, and 1 count of cruelty to animals. They dropped the cruelty to animals, but they didn't drop nothing else.
How old were you when you received your sentence?
I was 16.
Damn, I wonder what he did to an animal too. Oh, because he fed him to the dog. And that's dark. That is dark.
And what was it like as a 16-year-old receiving 2 life sentences? Can you tell me?
At that time, it didn't hit me. It didn't. It was only, to me, it was only numbers. I mean, I didn't. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. Although they did put me in a suicide cell for almost 3 months. Once, I guess they said it was routine, so to speak. Not until I went to the wall.
You should have never been released. I'm sure there's families of the victims who feel that. I don't say this to you to anger you. I don't say this to you to upset you, but I want to know, do you ever think about the fact that, you know, people would probably be satisfied?
Hey, shout out to the cameraman keeping it a biscuit straight to his face. He said you should have never been released. I agree, man. Why the fuck would they ever release this dude? He has the hatchet man on his face. He's a juggalo.
Glad to see you spend the rest of your life in prison.
Okay, what do you think?
Are you grateful for the opportunity to be back out here?
Yes, more than you'll ever realize.
What do you feel like your chances out here in the free world are? Do you feel like you stand a good chance, or do you feel Do you feel like you're going to succeed out here, or do you feel like you'll end up back in prison?
Oh, I won't go back to prison. I won't go. It'll either be suicide by cop or my own hands, but I'll never go back to prison.
It pretty much seems like everything that this guy has shared with us thus far has been a lie. And before we came to the conclusion that we've come to, basically saying, look, we believe everything that this guy has told us is not true. It's incorrect. It's a lie. Before coming to this conclusion and, really piecing
Keep getting darker.
Yeah, so those 9 months.
What was he lying about or what?
That I was in jail, that probably was the hardest 9 months I ever did in my life, because you got to look at it like this. You don't know, you know what you're in there for, but you're not sure if you're ever going to make it out. There was a point, I want to say 4 or 5 months into that 9 months that I was in there, bro, I was a wreck. I wasn't eating. I wasn't doing nothing, man. You could not have told me that I was getting out. You couldn't have told me, man. And, as I'm talking to my cellie about my case, describing to him, like, I told this nigga everything. Like, he was
big mistake. If you're in there on some weirdo shit and you're telling your celly, bro, you're about to get beat the fuck up.
Like, yeah, man, you up out of here. But hearing that, I didn't care, because it didn't matter. Because you think I'm not guilty, don't mean these people don't. Like, and so I got into about 14 fights. Words spread, but it got conflicted. Like, you ever play that game? You tell somebody a secret, and by the time it gets to you, it's different. It went from I essayed the senior citizen, then it was my aunt,
damn,
then it was underage kids. Like, the first 4 months, every time I met somebody from a different pod, we wound up fighting. And so I was in the hole for about.
Of course, this dude would be a target. And when you're locked up, man, and like I said, I can only speak for Texas, there is no benefit of the doubt. Like, if the charge is on you, then everybody just assumes that the charge is on you for a reason. And you wouldn't even be associated with that kind of energy if you didn't deserve it.
About 45 days out of that whole 9 months just from fighting. And so, yeah, that shit was tough, man, because like I said, I didn't know if I was getting out or not. And the only thing that I had to lean on was the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, was the truth. Like, I cannot describe the feeling of being in there for something for a fact you didn't do. Like,
I can. I know exactly what the fuck that feels like. And I think people that put false charges on people should go to jail for double the time that the other person would have got, man.
I don't have to take nothing from no woman, bro. I'm not bad looking. I'm 6'5", and I got a little swag to me. So I don't have to take shit from nobody. You know what I mean? And for the people that keep talking about the polygraph, I know you cannot use it in court, but I still wanted to take it just to prove to them that I'm not being dishonest about anything. And it's a reason why they never gave me one. The woman, the police officer that coerced the witness to come forward with the allegations, she came to visit me. She came to visit me, and she told me she was going to do everything in her power to make sure I spent the rest of my life in prison.
Damn.
Why? because 2 years prior, when I was out there being a cancer to my own community, she tried to arrest me and I hit feet on her ass, smoked her, right? And like I said, I had a reputation around town with these police. They didn't like me. So the first chance she got, that's what she did.
Hey, that's what it really bees like, man. I swear to God. Like, people forget all these pigs got their own human agendas, and if you cross paths with one of them and leave a bad taste in their mouth, you think they're not gonna have it out for you? Shit.
I've seen that police officer after that, and every time I see her, I let her know, I'm still here, bitch. I'm still here. And so yeah, and then
Now that's crazy. That is crazy. This dude's nuts must be falling out of his pants leg and stuff, because you gotta be out of your mind to be having that kind of energy with the laws after they done put you in there already one time.
another thing too, after I got out of jail for 3 years, I didn't talk to a single fucking woman. I didn't trust them. Did not trust them.
Been there. All right, I'm gonna let the video play for a second. I'm gonna go get ice cream.
It took a long time. It took about 7-8 years for me to get over that shit. You know what I'm saying? And for a long time, I was ashamed to tell anybody. The first person that I ever opened up to it was my wife. You know what I'm saying? That's the first person that I ever verbally came out and said what happened to me. But for a while, bro, it was a lot of shame, man. I was ashamed of that shit because you know how it is. When in a person's mind, when you say you did that or you went through that and you came out on top, in the back of people's mind, they're saying, oh, well, you know, yeah, you got found not guilty, but that doesn't mean you didn't do anything. Right? I had an ex whose boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend was a CO. And when he seen me, you know what I'm saying, he hit it with the, yo, you know, he was in there for blah, 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 blah. That relationship ended. So like I said, man, it took a long.
Hey, that's the way Penelope tried to do me. That's the way Penelope tried to do me. Oh, you got all these allegations against you, even though they're proven not to be the case in court. Let's still try and pin them to you and smut out your character to the highest degree I can.
Long time for me to get over that shit. And this is why I get on this app.
I won't ever
advocating for the average man, because a person did something to me. Nobody's going to jail behind that. It says so touched me inappropriately. Your ass is going to jail, bro. Your ass.
Damn, that's even scarier. That's even scarier than anything I've been through. For me, it was just, he did this and that to me, violent wise. What do you call it? That's fucking terrifying, but it's true. You don't even have to be on the scene or anywhere in the vicinity, yo. It's crazy the way that system works, man. And what the worst part about it is that, like, the girls that know how to use that system against you are the ones that will. Like, the hood rat ass chicks, just the worst type of people in the world, man. And if you ask me, they should do time for putting. Anybody that puts false allegations on somebody should go to prison, in my opinion.
This is going to jail. That has to change. I wish that if a woman lies on you like that, and it's found out that it's not true, she should get, if not all, of partial of what I was going to get. So I was facing 40 to get to me. And yeah, it's like I said, man, it took a long time for me to get over that shit. This happened almost 13 years ago. So for the first, like I said, the first 3 years, I didn't talk to nobody. I did not deal with women at all. I was strictly to myself. It took me a long time to trust women.
I won't ever get over it, and I won't ever trust a woman. And people are like, "Oh, Blizzy, why you talk to girls on the internet?" Well, bro, because I can talk to girls on the internet, and they are forced to show me who they really are over time without me being put at risk in that same type of way. And I hadn't ever really thought about that until right now, but that's uh like a subconscious thing. The probably has been with me since I went through that shit, because I'm I went through something similar as what this guy's talking about, of a girl just saying, "Hey, Blizzy did this, this, and that." Violent, the DV wise, that was completely fabricated. Went to court. I jumped bond, and because of that, I ended up doing a long ass time in jail. But the case ended up getting dismissed because there wasn't no kind of evidence to show that it was true, any of it.
And I did, which is why I'm married now. You know what I mean? But so yeah, that's that, man.
What's the craziest crime an inmate was convicted for that I did time with? It would have to go to Mr. Scooter. Now, Mr. Scooter was my cellmate. Now, before you laugh, understand one thing. This dude and I did time in confinement for 6 months. So I got to know his case, his life, and why he did it. It is the most meticulous, gruesome case, but it makes perfect sense. Something happened to his kid. You know, he was abused somehow when he was really young, and he was about to go crazy. And his wife said, "Please don't. We need a father. Please don't go." She said, "Let's go through the law." The system failed him on every level. They shut him down on every level. But he put his blinders on, woke up, went to work every day. We would talk about it because I was doing 6 months for slicing a child molester across the face. So he respected that, because the man that hurt his son when his son was a child lived about 30, 40 houses down from where he lived. So he'd see it every day to work. And he said every morning he would wake up and tell himself that he's going to wait until his son graduates college, and he's going to open that door and take whoever answers it out. We're talking 27, 25 years, right? That's a long time. I think his kid was maybe 5 at the time. He wants to wait till he's fully graduated out of college, grown up, ready to make, big boy decisions. He said, "I'm going to explain to him it and do it." Now, this is intriguing. I'm listening to him talk. I just can't believe it. So he goes and he gets himself a piece, and he goes, waits, takes his kid to school every day, mentors his kid, coaches him. He would show me pictures of him coaching his kid in basketball, football, pictures of them together. He was there from day one. Great father, great provider for his wife. He built the nest egg. He gave her stocks in the company he worked for 20 years, retired, gave her the pension. The son graduated college, and he went to the house of the man who hurt his son almost 20 years before that. He knocks on the door. Someone opens the door. So he knocks on the door. Somebody opens. It seems to be older than they should be. Says, "Are you here to see?" Boom. He blasts him.
Damn.
Twice. Immediately, the guy who hurt his son is older now, comes walking out of the room, hearing the noise. He starts unloading the clip on him. He calls 911 and goes to jail. And there was no remorse. He said, "I did what I had to do. I endured. I provided. I protected." But there's just some.
I don't know, man. I just have a hard time respecting when, like, you went through all that trouble to be meticulous about every other part, but then you just, I mean, who was that? Who was that extra person that you just mowed down when they entered the door, bro? What if that was his completely innocent nana or something? I don't know. It just seems crazy.
Things a man can't let go. And he would always say this to me: "Don't fuck with my car, my job, or my kids." I mean, he was doing double life, so he was never going home. The old dude and the guy who hurt his son both died. He caught 2 bodies, and he wouldn't think twice about it, because you don't hurt a man's kid. You know, the dude was willing to wait 20 years. That's how much he loved his family. That's how much he wasn't a criminal. He was willing to wait 20 years. Knocked on that door, killed his father and him, then called the cops. All for him fucking with his kid when he was a little boy. Stay away from our kids. We never forget. Just like in prison, they never forget. Stay out, stay free. Us.
That energy is crazy in here. Make some noise.
And the award goes to Mr. Scooter.
You know, what's
2019.
Okay, 2019. Man, what's the worst thing you've seen in prison?
Is when them get raped, bro. It's the saddest.
Did you ever? I mean, I hope not. Did you ever see the situation? You hear about it?
So when you're on the block.
On that note, it's been an hour, guys. Thank y'all for stopping by and saying hey. Like I said, man, stay out of jail, man. Stay out of jail and stay out of trouble, and keep your head up. Try to do the right thing. I hadn't been streaming in a while, so it was nice to come back and say hey. Salute to y'all guys. Like I said, anybody stop by to peep for a second and say hi. I appreciate you. Check out the Etsy shop, guys. I will talk to y'all soon. Remember, guys, there's your side, there's her side, and there is the blind side. Blind side news. Y'all be good. I'm out of here. Peace.